हरे कृष्णा। श्री श्री राधा माधव अष्ट सखी की जय। पंचतत्व भगवान की जय। प्रहलाद नरसिंह भगवान की जय। जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा माई की जय। हरे कृष्णा। वार्म वेलकम टू एवरीबडी फॉर दिस मॉर्निंग्स japa yagna and morning Bhagavatam class. Firstly, on behalf of my leader, thank everyone who's come in and performed their japa leading service. Nicely have participated in the Mangal Arati. So let's move on. We are about 45 of us. Let's move on to the next agenda, which is a short discussion of Srimad Bhagavatam. Before that, I will have a very short kirtan and then start. Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari Yashodandana Brajajanarandana Yashodandana Brajajanarandana Yamuna Tiravanachari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jayo Gandhavika Giridhari, Gandharvika Giridhari Gaura Hari. जयो लक्ष्मी नरसिंह जयो अनंत दे लक्ष्मी नरसिंह जयो अनंत देव निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायण नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी। Reading from Canto 2, Chapter 5, titled The Cause of All Causes. We are in verse number 32. The verse is like this. Yadaite asangat bhava Yadaite asangat bhava bhutendriyamano guna bhutendriyamano guna yada ayatana nirmane ayadayatane nirmane nashekur brahma vittama nashekur brahma vittama yadaite asangat bhava bhutendriyamano guna yada ayatana nirmane nase kur brahma vittama. Word to word meaning, translation, purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. O Narada, the best of the transcendentalists, the forms of the body cannot take place as long as these created parts, namely the elements, senses, mind, and modes of nature, are not assembled. Purport. The different types of bodily construction of the living entities are exactly like different types of motor cars manufactured by assembling the allied motor parts. When the car is ready, the driver sits in the car and moves as he desires. This is also confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 18.61. The living entity is as if seated in the machine of the body, and the car of the body is moving by the control of the material nature, just as the railway trains are moving under the direction of the controller. The living entities, however, are not bodies. They are separate from the cast of the body, but The less intelligent material scientists cannot understand the process of assembling the parts of the body, namely the senses, the mind, and the qualities of material modes. Every living entity is a spiritual spark, part and parcel of the Supreme Being, and by the kindness of the Lord, for the Father is kind to his sons, the individual living beings are given little freedom to act according to their will, to lord it over the material nature, just as the Father gives some playthings to the crying child to satisfy him. The whole material creation is made possible by the will of the Lord to allow the bewildered living entities to lord it over things as they desire. Although under the control of the agent of the Lord, the living entities are exactly like small children playing material field under the control of the maid servant of the Lord. They accept the Maya or the maid servant as all in all, and thus wrongly conceive the supreme truth to be feminine goddess Durga. The foolish childlike materialists cannot reach beyond the conception of maidservant material nature by the will intelligent grown-ups. The foolish childlike materialists cannot reach behind the concept of the maid-servant material nature, but the intelligent grown-up sons of the Lord, known well uh, of the Lord, know well that all the acts of material nature are controlled by the Lord, just as the maidservant is under the control of the master, the father of the undeveloped children. The parts of the body, such as the senses, are the creation of Mahatattva. And when they are assembled by the will of the Lord, the material body comes into existence and the living entity is allowed to use for further activities. This is explained as follows. That's in the next verse. Before I start, we'll tell our prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjalashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Gurum Shri Yutapata Shri Gurum Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagratatam Sahagna Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada श्री विशाखान्वितां च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत तकंचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिय वंशा कल्पतरुभ्यस्य कृपा सिंधुभ्येव च पतितानां भावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे श्रीपादाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादि पाश्चात्य देश तारिणी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय श्री गुरुदेव की जय हरे कृष्णा यदा एते असंगत भावा भूतेन्द्रिय मनोगुणा यदा आयतना निर्माणे नाशे कुर्ब्रह्मवित्तमा. Hare Krishna. So, this is, we've been discussing this, all the chapters, right? We came to know that Supreme Lord had a glance on the Pradhana and the agitation happens. And actually, uh, just to understand a little bit, what is that? So, suppose we sit with a very, very senior Vaishnava, a senior devotee, we feel kind of something, right? Now, I'll just give you another example to understand the intensity of our feeling. Now, imagine you're sitting alone, nobody else, just Guru Maharaj and you, our Gurudev. Usually, it feel different, right? Similarly, the Lord glanced at the Pradhana and in the agitated equilibrium state, produced the Mahatattva and the various elements. Here in this verse, it said that what is it saying? Yeah, all the elements were assembled, right? So these topics are very difficult. The subject is also very, very technical. So I need all your prayers and blessings so that I can also discuss this because I am also trying to assemble my thoughts. A lot of points I've scribbled down here and there, but I shall try my best. Else, you have to try and assemble all this and understand it yourself. But we'll make a very, very humble attempt as a part of a seva. So the discussion here is about how is Prakriti created, how are Jivas impregnated in the material nature. So before that, we shall discuss how does human learn knowledge, right? How does a child gets knowledge? We'll see that there are many processes, but the two prominent one is which is near to far. Uh, the child looks at something near us and then learns, right? That is the reason we keep saying, right, more things are caught than taught. They pick up what the parents are doing and they immediately do, right? So that is why whenever we describe the Lord also, we say the Lord looks like the lotus face. He's got a lotus face. He's got a moon-like face. Huh? Why? Simply because these are the things which we have seen. And from this, if this is so beautiful, we have to imagine how the Lord is. Something like that, right? We have this, or we do the other way around, contrast. Like initially, in the initial days of ISKCON, I was hearing a lot of lectures and they were describing a lot of how's the sun and the moon, right? Sun is so beautiful and the way it's so powerful, the way it generates. I mean, the energy, even in 1 second, the entire human civilization put together is not even used it. It's something like that. And the moon is so, it's like the eyes of the Lord. So when we realizes that the sun and moon has come out of Krishna, so in a contrast way of understanding, then you will say, wow, now how wonderful is Supreme Lord Krishna, right? Uh, there are of course different ways, but this is one of the ways, simpler ways to understand. When the energy of the Lord itself is so powerful, how powerful is the Lord? So it's the other way, contracts, one near and far, and the other way is contract. Now the living entity is Prakriti. So we are in touch with what the mind, the 10 centers, then the Ahankar is there, the three modes. Then how do we deal with all this? How do we understand these complex things? We start realizing, oh, these are all a part and parcel of the material nature. This is how material nature operates. And this is how, then we realize, oh, these are all as brand Prakriti, right? This is how it operates. Now, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, many chapters, especially the seventh, eighth, ninth, if you say Rasoham up to Konteya, which means he starts telling, I am the taste in the water. All this is for a simpler understanding, right? We then start understanding, oh, Prakriti is so beautiful, it's so Mahan, right? However, when we slowly start understanding all this, that is when he understood, oh God, this entire stakeholder is 100% shareholder is Krishna. It's a fully owned company of Krishna, right? He's the actual controller. Then we understand, okay, this brand is owned and then slowly we start developing the taste for Krishna. This is the strategy, right? This is how knowledge. So knowledge is passed on through simpler ways in all the seventh, eighth, ninth chapter. So knowledge is important, right? We very clear that knowledge is important. So here we are talking of assembly line, right? In fact, Prabhupada gives different motor cars are manufactured in assembly line. We'll come to that. What is being assembled? Mind, three gunas, then prana shakti, false ego, ahankar, buddhi, and the gross elements. You all know air, ether, air, fire, water, and five tan mantras, object of senses, sound, touch, form, taste, and smell. And the 10 senses. We all know acquiring senses and knowledge acquiring senses and working senses. Eyes, nose, tongue, hands, all that, genitals. Now, it's important that in Bhagavad Gita, we heard, right, field of activity, all these 23, 24 elements which forms the bodily form, it cannot take place. It's very important to assemble it in the right order also. And who better can do it? Only the Supreme Lord. I mean, because the body itself is just a wonderful machine. If you really go and check each one the way it is designed, it has to be assembled by somebody supreme. A normal person cannot do it, right? I'll just share an interesting, I'm sure you heard the story. A farmer once thought that he had to plant a lot of samplings. So he thought, why? The reason I'm giving this example is why is the purpose? And I was talking of the right assembly, the right format, and the goal. Everything is so important. So he thought I'll engage a few laborers. He said instead of doing just with one person, he'll bring in three people so that it becomes a specialized task. One will start digging the pit. So other one will put some seeds, and the third person he said, "Why don't you fill it? The mud which is taken outside." So why is this given like this? Because once you do it like a process, each person starts getting better because this person is specialized assembly line, right? So he comes, he digs, he becomes specialized by the time he does. So I'll give you an example. Henry Ford, when he started this motor car, since we are talking of motor cars, when he started this assembly line in the initial days, he could reduce the cost by one third. That means cost and speed also. That is 66% he could discount the machine. Right? Imagine. So important is assembly. So uh, this person said one person you dig, the other person puts the seed, and the other person. Now, what happened? One of them took casual leave. That is, the second person did not come. Now, just guess what happened? The first person came very efficiently, dug the pit, moved to the other one, dug the pit, moved to the other one. What was the third person doing? His job very effectively. He came, he started filling the pit. Now, no marks for guessing. What happened? You all know the result of the job, right? So, they did not understand the purpose and the goal of the entire job, the goal of the assembly. Now, I mean, we can again take a very funny incident in Punjab. There was a person using washing machine. Washing machine is used to what? Simple. We all know it's to use wash clothes. He was using it to make lassi. Okay, because in Punjab that's the kind of quantity they make. I mean, this is like crazy, right? So the point is purpose and the goal or the importance should be known. I mean, another similar example I can give. One mechanic, we all know, either I don't know, it's a car or a ship or something. It was not moving, and these people had called a very very intelligent man. He came, took about 30 minutes just inspecting, and finally, just whatever, less than 30 seconds, he did some arrangement to a screw, and he gave a big bill. And they asked him how many, why is this so many thousands of dollars? Just for a 30-second job. He said, no, for me to find where is the problem and then to fix the problem. So the high bill is only for the knowledge. The point is, knowledge is very important. And not only that, we should know each place, why is it assembled, what is the purpose of each of the machines, right? So similarly, if we need to know how is this material work, nature working, what is the purpose of Prakriti, how can we use it for our goal, which is going back home, back to garden, right? Then we come to know, oh, that is the only when you know all this, then we come to know why is this beautiful setup. The Lord says, right? Father is very kind to his sons, and he is given that little freedom to act or lord it over the material nature. But however, in the same, Prabhupada is also given the well-known, grown-up and the intelligent sons knows it, use it nicely. So here, that's what is happening. We need to know what is the purpose of human life. It's a complicated assembly of our body. What we must use it judiciously. Why? Because especially those born in Bharata Vamsha, even just recently this Sunday, we heard from His Grace Mathura Pati Madhusudan Das how beautifully even the Devatas are praying. What are they saying? They're all praying, oh, how significant is human life? They're making a statement that how important it is to take the birth in Bharatavarsha. Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th canto, 19th chapter, 21st verse and 22nd verse. What are they saying? How wonderful is this human being? They are born in the land of Bharatavamsha. They have executed pious acts of austerity in the past, and or the Supreme Lord Himself must have pleased with them. Otherwise, how could they engage in devotional service in so many ways? Look at the two important factors: pious activity or Lord must be pleased. That's how you get birth in. I mean, being born in India is not a chance. So we demigods aspire to achieve human births in Bhartavarsha to execute devotional service. But these humans are already engaged there. So we also know in Chaitanya Charitamrita what it says: Bharata Bhumi hoile, Manushya Janma yare, Janma Sartaka kare, kare upakar. So, Janma Sartaka Kari means Prabhu was mentioning it's Vichar, Achar, and Prachar. So, just imagine one who's taken birth in human being in the land of India, Bharata Vamsha, should make his life successful and work for the benefit of all people. Now, again, Prabhu mentioned one very important aspect. Benefit, upakar means not blood donation, annadana, cloth donation. I'll give some education donation. All that is fine. But what is the actual paropakar? So it's not which is ISKCON telling all of you preach. It is Mahaprabhu, Shri, the Supreme Lord Himself saying actual paropakar is going, is the most important service, which is telling others about the how to use this material nature, why your human life is important, and utilize this machine, this body to go back home, back to Godhead. So it's important to know the purpose, how things work, and how we should utilize this things, facilities given for us, which is material nature. Now let's see how it works, right? How is the assembly? How is all this complicated 23 elements are assembled? Prakriti, firstly, is very precise and predictable, right? They work. I mean, have you ever seen sun is not rising at a time? It doesn't get late. Yeah, today I'll go late to work, or today I'll take casual leave. Nothing. Very, very relentlessly, systematically, it comes. When it rains, when rain comes, when what time will be temperature, when is our Diwali, when is Janmashtami every year. Everything is possible for us because it's happening. It's been done for years together, right? It's been continuously happening. Why? Because it's happening by the instruction of the Supreme Lord. They are all empowered by the glance of the Supreme Lord. Hence, these extraordinary powers they have, right? We know when is Grahana. Just recently, we have Adhikamas. We know Adhikamas. There is a wonderful arrangement of the 10 days, this many hours, this many seconds. Everything is so perfect. Every 3 years, it comes in. It's all predictable, right? It's because working under the direction. Now let's take the example of our own body, right? All the psychology students, if you are any in this session, they know that without thoughts and feelings, you cannot have the mood or the feelings. How thoughts come? That's possible only when you have touched some object, sense objects, or when you have remembered something. Just try and remember yourself some events which has happened. Only when you think that, immediately your mood or your entire thing starts thinking about it. Right? The psychologists utilize these things, and that's how they are curing patients. Okay. What I'm trying to say is it's all very predictable. When the thoughts or feelings get detached from the object or something, right? Then when they are separated, they don't get those feelings. They don't get into the depression and things like that. The best way you can see it yourself. You keep seeing some YouTube videos. I mean, this happened to me and Radha. We were actually checking some Ekadashi recipes so that we could cook for the Lord. Now you won't believe, if you keep on seeing those, you feel like doing it that day, though it was not Ekadashi. You end up, oh, you keep seeing those things which is like so tasty and things like that. Then you get into sense gratification. Oh, we'll make one. Okay. I mean, maybe we'll offer it. But the point I'm trying is, you keep on seeing something or keep on observing or meditating on something, you want to do that. Now it's I'm told there is a cricket World Cup. Now, somebody I was speaking to the other part of the world, Western world, he was like, I asked him, "Are you seeing some World Cup cricket?" He said, "No, I've got nothing, no connection with cricket." Why? Because he was in the other part. When they are disconnected with they're not connected with the sport. There are no thoughts, no feelings. It's just pure science. It's not. It's absolute science. That's what Prabhupada says, science of self-realization. Now, Prakriti is predictable if you use it for the right cause. It's also unpredictable. Why is it unpredictable? It's because we become dependent on the Lord, right? So if you actually use it for the Daivi purpose, for the actual purpose, why is it there? Like I said, understand this, utilize this human body, go back home, back to God. But if you want to use it, see it as Mohini or Maya, using it for self-enjoyment, that little freedom which we have got to Lord it, then the person will keep on performing sense gratification. You have nature lovers, right? They keep going and saying, I want to, every time your weekend, they are in some nature, actually loving Supreme Lord, but they don't know what it is, right? Then other people are osiric, absolutely exploit it and destroy others also. So three ways of uh, utilizing it in your favor. Now it depends how we use Prakriti. I again said. So if you notice, why is it unpredictable? Again, if it is so predictable, then we become like robots, right? And we will not have any faith. We'll all start telling everything was done by the Lord and things. So that's why that free will is given. So if you notice one thing, even in a devotee's life, the Lord interferes only when the person is exhausted with all other options. When he starts taking shelter and saying, I have nothing else to depend you, that is when Lord comes into picture. One, so we understood is predictable. Second is self-generating. Prakriti got a self-generating power. Though, so once it's all arranged, the Lord doesn't come in and start meddling with daily operations. He's got a lot of karma. laws of karma to operate and take care of itself, right? Whenever it's supreme heat, again, when rain comes, or say, for example, somebody is saying, oh, I've eaten 10 pizzas, my stomach is fully gone, upset. Lord doesn't come to sort out all that, right? There is some mechanism in which what if you do it is, that's why Ayurveda is there, when you should eat, what you should eat, how you should eat, how you should consume water, everything is given. So we need to understand that and manage all that. So we cannot, Lord doesn't come and solves all the small problem, right? Otherwise we'll not be able to tolerate, we'll start blaming everything. So Prakriti is also eternal, we all know that. Now, and purpose, most important, the last point, purpose. Now Brahmaji, why is he saying all this? That the entire is setting up the contest to Narada Muni is just to say that all this is coming from the Supreme Lord, to explain that Vasudeva is our Param Gati. Right? After knowing all that, we should approach the Supreme Lord with all this knowledge. That is how He's giving all this. So, having knowledge is very, very important. Having the knowledge that even in Krishna consciousness, japa is the most important aspect of our spiritual progress, is also very, very important. That is why we need to be very, very supremely, attentive when we are doing japa. We need to avoid offenses. At least we should come to the Namabhash level, right? We must know that japa is not a ritual. Prabhujis and Matajis, it is not a ritual. It is not that I have moved 16 rounds. I'm telling this for myself, right? It is an engagement of early morning Brahma Muhurta hours, 2 hours. We are with the Supreme Lord. It is, yes, you are in your house, in your own chair, in your own asana, whatever it is, but we are actually sitting with the Supreme Lord. Japa is done with emotions. Okay, at least that's how I learned in one of the various sessions we heard. It's done with a lot of seriousness. This is I actually one of the sessions I had. We were given a board to write in our house. This is the most important activity of the day. Nothing else is more important for us, for every of a sadhaka, apart from doing japa. We must know that Krishna is listening. His Holiness Sachinanda Swami always says when you're doing kirtan, yes, Krishna is listening. Please sing harder. Please sing louder. So that is the way this entire uh, process of knowledge is to be approached. Knowing very well that all this is an assembled factor. It's like the father is very kind to the son, okay, and Prabhupada uses, in fact, saying agent or maid servant of the Lord. And only the unintelligent people think that the maid servant, the Maya, or the Durga itself is the supreme, and they falsely submit to her. And, they don't know that Durga is having another Trishul in the hand. Mercilessly, she's going to chop off if you are not following the rules. But if you're following the rules laid out by our founder Acharya, our Gurudev, and utilize all this, especially the japa, and utilize these wonderful opportunities like early morning Bhagavatam hearing, and that way starting the day with a wonderful positive note, and beautifully get protected throughout the day by the Supreme Lord. Then our lives will be great. Uh, let's beg to Krishna for spiritual progress, because even Krishna will not be happy giving us material things. Okay. These are the few points I've picked up from this verse at 640. Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gurudev ki jai. Nithai Gaur Premanande. Like I said, I had written down a lot of points, but a few assemblies here and there. So I would request others to please see if you understood anything. I would be very happy if there are no questions. Yes, Veda Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat
Hare
Pranam.
Krishna.
Very nice session, Prabhu. Very nicely you explained. Like we need to understand, utilize, and then we need to go back. So I would like to add few points, share few points in Kannada for the better understanding for Kannada devotees.
Please, Mataji.
ಸೊ ಇವತ್ತು ವ್ರಜನಾಥ್ ಪ್ರಭುಗಳು 2.5.32 ಶ್ಲೋಕ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಡಿಸ್ಕಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು. ನೋಡಿ, ಹಿಂದಿನ ಸೀರೀಸ್ ನಾವು ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಕಡೆ ನಾವು ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಬರ್ಬೋದು. ಏನಂದ್ರೆ ದೇವೋತ್ತಮ ಪರಮ ಪುರುಷನೇ ಸುಪ್ರೀಂ ಕಂಟ್ರೋಲರ್. ಅವರೇ ಎಲ್ಲಾನು ಕಂಟ್ರೋಲ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ಅಂತ ಅಲ್ವಾ. ಸೊ ಈ ಶ್ಲೋಕದಲ್ಲೂ ಅದು ಹಾಗೆ ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂ ಆಗ್ತಿದೆ. ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಈಗ ನಮ್ಗೆ 23 ಇಂದ 24 ಇಂದ್ರಿಯಗಳು ಏನಿದೆ, ಯಾವ್ದಾಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಮನಸ್ಸಾಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ತ್ರಿಗುಣಗಳಾಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಬುದ್ಧಿ, ಅಹಂಕಾರ ಏನೇನಿದೆಯೋ ಇದು ಎಲ್ಲಾನು ಅಷ್ಟೇ, ಅದಕ್ಕೂ ಸಹ ಅಧಿಪತಿಗಳು ಇರ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂತ ನಾವು ಹಿಂದಿನ ಶ್ಲೋಕದಲ್ಲಿ ಓದಿದ್ದಾನೆ. ಆ ಅಧಿಪತಿಗಳು ಸಹ ನಮ್ಮ ಇಂದ್ರಿಯಗಳಲ್ದಿರ ಆ ಅಧಿಪತಿಗಳು ಸಹ ಏನು ಭಗವಂತನ ಒಂದು ಕಂಟ್ರೋಲ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ. ಇದನ್ನ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಸಿಂಪಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬಹುದು ಅಂದ್ರೆ, 100% ಶೇರ್ ಹೋಲ್ಡರ್, ಒಂದು ಕಂಪನಿಗೆ ಶೇರ್ ಹೋಲ್ಡರ್ಸ್ ಇರ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ, ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ 100% ಶೇರ್ ಹೋಲ್ಡರ್ ಬೇರೆ ಯಾರು ಅಲ್ಲ, ಕೃಷ್ಣನೇ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಈಸಿಯಾಗಿ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬಹುದು ಈ ಶ್ಲೋಕದಲ್ಲಿ. ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಿದಾರೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಒಂದು ಇದನ್ನ ಹೇಗೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬಹುದು ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಒಂದು ರೈತ ಇರ್ತಾನೆ. ರೈತ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ, ಆ ಹೊಲನ ಉಳ್ಬೇಕು, ಅವ್ನು ಏನಾದ್ರು ಗ್ರೋ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅದಕ್ಕಿರುವಂತ 3 ಸಿಂಪಲ್ ಸ್ಟೆಪ್ಸ್ ಏನಿದೆ, ಅದನ್ನ ಅಗಿಬೇಕು, ಬೀಜನ ಬಿತ್ತಬೇಕು, ನಂತರ ಅದನ್ನ ಕ್ಲೋಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು. ಒಬ್ಬನೇ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಕಷ್ಟ ಅಂತ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ, 3 ಜನನ ಅಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಇದ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ. ಆದ್ರೆ ಎಲ್ಲಾರು ಅವರವರ ಒಂದು ವೃತ್ತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಅವರು ಪ್ರವೀಣರಾಗ್ತಾರೆ. ಯಾರು ಹಳ್ಳನ ಯಾರು ದುಂತಾರೋ ಅವರು ಅದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪರ್ಟ್ ಆಗ್ತಾರೆ. ಯಾರು ಬೀಜ ಹಾಕೋರು ಆ ಒಂದು ಫೀಲ್ಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪರ್ಟ್ ಆಗ್ತಾರೆ. ಯಾರು ಅದನ್ನ ಕ್ಲೋಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರ, ಒಂದು ಹೋಲ್ ನ ಓಪನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ನ, ಅವ್ರು ಅದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪರ್ಟ್ ಆಗ್ತಾರೆ. ಆದ್ರೆ ನಾವೇನ್ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಆ ಪರ್ಪಸ್ ಏನಿದೆ, ಆ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಪರ್ಪಸ್ ಏನಿದೆ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಪರ್ಪಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಗೋಲ್ ವಿ ನೀಡ್ ಟು ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಅಂತ. ಸೊ ಇದನ್ನ ನಮ್ಮ ಒಂದು ರಿಯಲೈಸೇಷನ್ ಏನಿದೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಈ ಒಂದು ಯಾಕೆ ಭಗವದ್ಗೀತೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಭಾಗವತಮಲ್ಲಿ ಬರೀ ಸಾರ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ತತ್ವನೂ ಯಾಕೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಒಂದೇ ಕಾರಣಕ್ಕೆ ಏನಂದ್ರೆ, ದೇವೋತ್ತಮ ಪರಮ ಪುರುಷ ಯಾರು ಅನ್ನೋ ಒಂದು ನಾಲೆಜ್ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿದ್ರೇನೆ ಸಹ ಈ ಒಂದು ದಿವ್ಯವಾದ ಜ್ಞಾನ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗೋದು ಅಂತ. ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಹೌ ನೇಚರ್ ವರ್ಕ್ಸ್, ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಈ ಪ್ರಕೃತಿ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ, ಅದರ ಕಂಟ್ರೋಲರ್ ಯಾರು, ಇದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ನಾವು ಆ ಭಗವಂತನ ಧಾಮಕ್ಕೆ, ನಮ್ಮ ಸ್ವಂತ ಮನೆಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬೋದು ಅನ್ನೋದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನಾವು ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ಈ ದಿವ್ಯ ಜ್ಞಾನನ ನಾವು ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ಇದು ಲೈಕ್ ಮಥುರಾಪತಿ ಪ್ರಭುಗಳ ಒಂದು ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ರ ಒಂದು ಉದಾಹರಣೆ ಕೊಟ್ರು. ಏನು ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಪರ ಉಪಕಾರ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಬೇರೆಯವ್ರಿಗೆ ಸಹಾಯ ಮಾಡೋದು ಹೇಗೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ವಿಚಾರ ಆಚಾರ ಪ್ರಚಾರ ಅಷ್ಟೇ, ತುಂಬಾ ಸಿಂಪಲ್ ನೋಡಿ. ನಾವೇನು ಈ ದಿವ್ಯ ಜ್ಞಾನದಿಂದ ಕಲಿತೀವೋ ಅದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಅದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಆಚರಣೆ ಮಾಡಿ ಅದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಪ್ರಚಾರ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಂತೆ. ಸೊ ಇದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಉತ್ತಮವಾದಂತಹ ಪರ ಉಪಕಾರ ಬೇರೆ ಯಾವುದು ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು, ನಾವೀಗ ಯಾರಿಗೋ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ಸರ್ ಬಂತು, ನಮ್ಮ ಹೇರ್ನ ಡೊನೇಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದು, ಯಾರಿಗೋ ಕಿಡ್ನಿ ಇಲ್ಲ ಕಿಡ್ನಿ ಡೊನೇಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ನೋಡಿ, ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಏನಂದ್ರೆ ಕರ್ಮ ಅಕರ್ಮ ಎಲ್ಲದಕ್ಕೂ ಸೇರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಅದರಿಂದ ಆಚೆ ಬಂದು ಈ ಒಂದು ಉತ್ತಮವಾದ ಜ್ಞಾನ ಯಾವ್ದೋ ಡೊನೇಷನ್ ಮಾಡೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಆದ್ರೆ ಪರೋಪಕಾರ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು, ಈ ದಿವ್ಯಜ್ಞಾನನ ಹಂಚೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು. ಮತ್ತೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಕನ್ಕ್ಲೂಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಪಾರ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಬಾಡಿ, ಈ ಇಂದ್ರಿಯಗಳಾಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಈ ನಮ್ಮ ಒಂದು ದೇಹದ ಒಂದು ಅಂಗಗಳಾಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ನಮ್ಮ ಅಹಂಕಾರ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಬುದ್ಧಿ, ಮನಸ್ಸು, ಸೂಕ್ಷ್ಮ ಶರೀರ ಎಲ್ಲಾನು ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ಏನಂದ್ರೆ ಎಲ್ಲಾನು ಮಹಾತತ್ವದ ಒಂದು ಇದ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ನಡೀತಾ ಇರತ್ತೆ. ಆದ್ರೆ ಈ ಮಹಾತತ್ವಕ್ಕೂ ಸಹ ಎನರ್ಜಿನ ಕೊಡೋದು ಯಾರು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ದೇವೋತ್ತಮ ಪರಮ ಪುರುಷ ಮಾತ್ರ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಇದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಹೇಗೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಬಂದ್ರೆ, ಈಗ ಮೆಡಿಟೇಷನ್ಗೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಮೆಡಿಟೇಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ನಾವು ದಿವ್ಯ ಜ್ಞಾನನ ಪಡಿಲಿಕ್ಕಾಗ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಗುರು ಸಾಧು ಶಾಸ್ತ್ರ ಇವರ ಒಂದು ಸಹಾಯ ತಗೊಂಡಾಗ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಈ ಶಾಸ್ತ್ರ ಅನ್ನೋದ, ಈ ಒಂದು ದಿವ್ಯ ಜ್ಞಾನ ಅನ್ನೋದು ನೀಟಾಗಿ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸೊ ದೀಸ್ ಆರ್ ಮೈ ಫ್ಯೂ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್ ಪ್ರಭು. ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಪ್ರಭು. ಹರೇ ಕೃಷ್ಣ.
Thank you. That assembly process, that second person forgot to put the seed. How they did that? Then, yes, Mataji. Yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji. Very nice class Prabhuji. Too technical Prabhuji today to us. And like you asked us to important to question ourselves, like use of prakriti and use of the purpose of human life, and use it in a right way. We have to use our knowledge in a right way to go back home, back to Godhead, you mentioned. And also you gave us an example of the farmer and the labor, where each work is equally important to get the result. Even if one labor misses his work, we can't expect the right result. And also you mentioned about where assembly in the right order and knowledge is very important. And also like attentive chanting is not a ritual. You mentioned that. It was very nice Prabhuji, where we like it is the opportunity or platform to get closer to Krishna. Thank you Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much for highlighting the points, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Anybody else? ಬೇರೆ ಯಾರಿಗಾದ್ರೂ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್ ಇದೆಯಾ?
Okay, thank you Vrajanath Prabhu for your nice class, and with a lot of analogies, nicely we explained it. Now we are undergoing the various analogies and philosophy we are trying to understand. So Prabhupada gives wonderful example here. whatever given in the translation, what is that? Transcendently. So the form of the body cannot take place as long as these created parts are not assembled. What are the created parts? Elements, senses, mind, and modes, three modes of material nature. So first they have to get themselves assembled. Then the actual thing will take place. So Prabhupada gives the beginning, the different types of bodily constructions of the living entities are exactly like different types of motor cars manufactured by assembling the allied motor parts. When the car is ready, the driver sits, and the car moves as he decides. Similarly, these elements also, senses, mind, the three modes of material nature, they have to get themselves assembled. So the Lord is creating according to the living entity's desires. So once they are created, then the living entity will make an entry. Just like the Supreme Lord makes an entry into the all material worlds like Karanadak Sai Vishnu, Garbhodak Sai Vishnu, like that. Okay, so if we concentrately study it, it's not a big thing. It's not a too much philosophy, but it's easy to understand also. So thank you, Vrajanath Prabhu. Over to you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. That is why we have this wonderful book where clearly creation is also given so much important with a clear heading, cause of all causes. Yes. ಬೇರೆ ಯಾರಾದರೂ ಏನಾದರೂ ಹೇಳಬೇಕಾ? ಇಲ್ಲ, ನಾವು ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ವಿ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಗೋ ಟು ದ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಸೆಷನ್. ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಅಗೇನ್ ಫಾರ್ Vedagama Mataji for making it simpler for all the Kannada speaking people so they don't miss any point. At least they get the essence of all the lectures every single day. Wonderful service. Thank you, Mataji. Okay. So, next ಯಾರಿಗಾದರೂ announcements ಇದೆಯಾ? Any announcements? Wow, so nice.
We will continue prayers for
Prayer.
our Guru Maharaj until he comes back to Mayapur.
Absolutely.
So looks like Guru Maharaj is getting better. Hare Krishna.
Yes. Even in this, it's an opportunity by Guru Maharaj giving us so that we can get a little better in our sadhana. We can get a little. So it's so beautiful. Every place Guru Maharaj is actually helping us. Okay. And so it's so nice. Thank you, Prabhu, for all those pradakshinas. We do more. Narsimha Kavacha, we were all doing that. We are very happy to do this again. So please, all of you, as Prabhu told that Sunday, Narasimha Kavacha, Tulasi Pradakshina, extra rounds can be done and dedicate any of the services which you have done to Guru Maharaj so that it will help. Hare Krishna. Very yargo ella, everybody is
Hare
fine.
Krishna Prabhuji. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes,
Dandavat
Mataji,
Pranam Prabhuji.
you go ahead with the English
Prabhupada
version.
quote. 7th July. Think of Krishna always and try to work sincerely and everything will come automatically. Letter to Anirudh, June 7, 1968. ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ ಕೃಷ್ಣನ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಯೋಚಿಸಿ ಮತ್ತು ಪ್ರಾಮಾಣಿಕವಾಗಿ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಲು ಪ್ರಯತ್ನಿಸಿ, ಆಗ ಎಲ್ಲವೂ ಸ್ವಯಂಚಾಲಿತವಾಗಿ ಬರುತ್ತದೆ. ಅನಿರುದ್ಧರಿಗೆ ಬರೆದ ಪತ್ರ, ಜುಲೈ 7, 1968. ಹರೇ ಕೃಷ್ಣ ಪ್ರಭುಜಿ. ದಂಡವತ್.